Welcome back to 1011 News at noon. Heat-related deaths have increased in the U.S. with approximately 2,300 of them last year. Joining me today to discuss how to avoid heat stress and other related heat issues is Nebraska Safety Council Executive Director John Leffler Jr. John, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, this is something, especially with the forecast, and I know we've been talking about it over the next few days, whether you're actually working outdoors, you know, in your yard, or if you're, you know, in a job where you work outdoors on a daily basis, heat exhaustion, heat cramps, heat stroke. Really, it starts with the heat cramps, and that's going to you know, evolve into a lot of other issues. So some of the symptoms and things that people should be watching out for with heat exhaustion, whether it be you know, dizziness. Obviously, if you're starting to feel any sort of weakness, excessive thirst, heavy sweating, those are all symptoms that you're kind of moving in the wrong direction. And for those that are observing somebody that might be suffering from these symptoms, keep in mind that you move from heat exhaustion into heat stroke. And the heat stroke symptoms that you're going to see, some of the similar ones, but where it gets a little bit scarier, you know, you might notice the individual having some confusion, again, dizziness, but then also they could very well become unconscious.
Yes.
So those are some of the things to keep in mind if you are observing somebody with heat stroke.
And it is scary too when folks quit sweating. I've always heard too, once your body does that, that's a scary moment too, when you know that you're in heat stroke or you're getting toward that dangerous.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things, if you do see someone that's experiencing these symptoms, or if they're getting into a state like this, you bring up a great point. Especially if you're outdoors, some of the things that you can do to help that person, if they're on a job site or maybe you're working out in the yard, is actually well, clearly stop them from doing whatever activity it is, but move them to a shaded area. You don't want to necessarily take someone that's been outside in 95, 100 degree plus weather inside to an air conditioned area. That actually might send them into a shock.
Oh, that's good to know.
So
that,
you
that
want to,
first reaction.
that seems like a logical reaction, but really not something that you want to do. And also clear fluids, bottled water, you know, zero caffeine electrolyte drinks. You don't want to be necessarily giving somebody a bunch of caffeinated drinks, because that really doesn't help. That's a diuretic, and that's not really where we're trying to go with this. We're trying to hydrate somebody. So if you are working outdoors, some things to keep in mind, at least 24 ounces of water per hour is what you're going to want to be drinking. So you can think in terms of, you know, 8 ounces of fluid every, you know, 10 to 15 minutes would be a great thing to do there. And definitely over the next few days, if you had some yard work planned, or if you're going to be working outdoors for your job, make sure that you're taking breaks, lots of breaks. It's important for you to be able to work longer days, and definitely consider you know, starting the day a little bit earlier than maybe you usually would, so you can avoid the major heat of the day.
When it's a little cooler.
Yeah.
Yes, and great information for everyone, because yes, some groups are more susceptible, but it can also happen to anyone. So
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much, John. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Megan. Appreciate it.
And speaking of that hot forecast, we'll be right back with a final check of it with Brad.